Sandy Casanelli, Merlin, Oregon. Well, it's a new year, and so maybe we can review last year and see how we're doing. January and February, we have violations of open public meeting law. Executive session was not meant to go in as a cozy little time to talk about anything you wanted under matters from commissioners. Then we have, around budget time, the board approving elected officials being able to pay PERS retirement that they had not signed up for, specifically Simon Hare. His first term did not sign up for PERS, but when he got reelected last year, they finagled the administrative policy so that an elected officials could retroactively pay into PERS so he could have his retirement. Then we have Commissioner Hare going on junkets, that's the public money, to Washington, coming back and giving a report to the public. Well, nothing really happened there. That was a lot of money for such a terse report to the public. Commissioner Hare is on the ONC board and recently got elected as vice president. We're a county that cannot afford to send representatives to the ONC. This board has publicly stated that we're not getting any SRS payments. That's why we need, these little levies that are going to come up. We have very little to see for the money that you all are spending on supposedly our behalf. Commissioner Hare has a recall out against him. I encourage everybody to sign it. You can go and get electronic versions and send them to the chief petitioner, who I believe is Mark Kelsey. It would behoove the citizens of Josephine County to start eliminating this Board of Commissioner one by one with such things as the recall or electing other people for Commissioner Heck and Commissioner Walker's positions. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Bill Hill, Merlin, Oregon. I normally don't attend these meetings because you don't get much out of them, and I'm mainly the reason I'm here today is but the paper kindly give me Daily Courier give me news last night that I was under the impression that Mr. Hare was going to be chairman. I would be opposed to that under the condition of what has happened. And like the Daily Courier has printed in a couple of weeks ago, 3 strikes and you're out. And I think Mr. Hare has had his 3 strikes, and I think he should be removed from office. And I'm a firm believer in giving a person a second chance, but I raised 2 sons, which are older than you. And I'm sure they had a few beers and a few drinks. But I do know this: wine, women, and song will get you in trouble somewhere down the road. And if you don't know the Lord, I'd advise you to seek Him and seek wisdom, because that's the greatest thing we can ask for. And I just believe that our county officials, and it starts from the top of the federal government, they're crooked as crooked can be. You might find a few in there that would benefit the country, but most of them, they're out to fill their pocketbook and do the things they please and the way they please. And I just think that if you was my son, Mr. Hare, I'd be honest with you, you'd get a swift kick in the ass, because this is uncalled for. And I'm just glad that Ms. Walker has taken the chair, because there would be problems if you was going to be in charge. So that's all I have to say. Have a good day.
Thank you. Stewart Senate, Grants Pass. Well, I've been living...
You're spelling it S-T-E-W or?
S-T-U-A-R-T.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a pretty new resident to this area, and as far as I can see, it's been a real active area, a lot of things going on. First thing was they tried to push a sales tax through, it was voted down. Then there's all this hocus pocus going on with commissioners here. And it's very unsettling to, first of all, see somebody who has the public trust violate that trust and act in a way which an ordinary citizen is not expected to act. But somebody who is in the public trust should be always held to a higher standard. And the other thing that I have personally is that I came the last time to this meeting, and it was the first time I ever been to a commissioners meeting, and I was, no disrespect, but I was looking at you, and I noticed something very odd about you, and I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, hope that you overcome your problems, because you're obviously a bright young man, and you got yourself in something that's an addiction, and I know it's tough, but you got to know that you got to deal with your problems first. And when you serve as a commissioner, you're making your problems our problems, because you're not going to come out with the best logical decisions in any situation, because you're not. When you're addicted, your mind is somewhere else. You're not in total control of your faculties. So, there's nobody in there, right? Nobody's going to ever convince me that a person who's addicted to something is going to make logical decisions, especially when the people are concerned. And to you two commissioners, Mr. Heck and Ms. Walker, I say to you this: you work very closely with this man. You mean you never saw that this man was not of right, sound mind? You're at best, you're either unaware, and at worst, you're an enabler. So what that doesn't tell me much about your personal character. I think, in my mind, everybody ought to clean house here, because you got to start thinking about this. You're either an enabler or you're not very aware, and either way, I don't think you do the people of this area justice. So anyway, wish you all the best on your new professions, whatever they may be. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. This board kicked off the new year yesterday by breaking the law. You violated Oregon ORS 203-240, and you know what that is because you've been told about it before. You violated yesterday at your meeting the Oregon State Constitution. You violated yesterday the Josephine County Charter. You violated yesterday your own sworn oaths of office. It says in that law that at your first meeting, you will elect a new chair. Not that you will surprise someone who thought he was going to be the vice chair. And how did you come to that decision? At what open public meeting did you decide that? You didn't. So, it says that you shall do that. It doesn't say that you should do that or maybe best practice. It says that you shall do that. And now, you've been warned a second time here in the Ann Basker. You see, because your first warning came from the state constitution to obey the law. Your second warning came from our county charter to obey the law. Your third warning came from County Legal Counsel Steve Rich to obey the law. Your fourth, and that was individually, to each of you individually, to obey that law. When he could see that you weren't going to do that, he showed up at that meeting when he was here, and he warned you on camera and on the record to obey the law. That was the fourth time. The fifth time, I came to this meeting, and I reminded you that he had warned you to obey the law, and you broke the law. And then it was also on videotape for you to see a sixth time. That's 6 times. How many times do you need to be warned? Well, it fits in with the motto of this commission, which is, I know we're breaking the law, and I don't care. We could see that at the end of last year's meeting, the very last meeting of the year, when 2 commissioners gathered over here with Pat Fahey and got into a discussion, because we could hear you, about county business. You were in a quorum. You were breaking the law. Now, just yesterday, Wally Hicks sat in on this illegal meeting and didn't say anything to you about it. But he did warn you that the OGEC, the Government Ethics Commission, is watching what you do. In addition to that, we're telling them that you met in the corner after lecturing us about how moral you are. Why, how could you say that we're not? Then you broke the law and were in the corner. You should have gone out the door, but you'd still be breaking the law. At least we wouldn't see you and hear you. You're doing it constantly. There's only one solution for this. That is to replace you as commissioners, because there's no hope for you. You're just going to keep doing it again and again and again. So keep doing it. We'll keep reporting about it. Thanks, and have a nice day.
Anyone else over here? Mr. Fahey, your name was invoked.
Good morning, Pat Fahey, 3640 Williams Highway. I normally don't speak at these, but when my name is bandied about, I like to at least correct the record. And if you want to watch Mr. Matthews' tape, that's fine as well. What are you referring to? And I have to preface this by saying Mr. Matthews' interpretation of the Oregon Constitution and Oregon law is quite often at odds with the Ethics Committee and other legal opinions. He's filed many different challenges. I don't know of any gathered ground. Maybe there is something currently. I don't know. The discussion I had over here was about whether or not I should file my resignation to be on the Budget Committee or if my time's expired. Now, I don't think a question like that is pertaining to, you weren't making a decision, you're informing a constituent. And if I can't ask a county commissioner about a point of order or a point of practice, it's not making policy, it's not setting law, it's informing a constituent, then there's something wrong with the system. And if that's how Mr. Matthews interprets it, then maybe you ought to look at how he interprets a law. I think I was fine. I think how he responded was fine. And if he wants to present his video on his website, which he sure will, you'll find out that's what was said. So what Mr. Matthews says here, maybe he's taken out of context. Maybe he's honestly misinterpreting the law. But I think that there's also some other agenda out there. I just want to get my position straight on that. What happened in that corner, and I think you guys handle it right. I think I handle it right. I think Mr. Matthews interpreted it incorrectly. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We've already passed over that side, so.
She came in late, though.
I'm sorry?
She came in after you were asked that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mike Jones, Grants Pass. I wasn't going to say anything. I'm a little flabbergasted that all of a sudden there's a rule change. If your name is invoked, you get to come up and say something about it. When did that start? Apparently today, because there's all kinds of times in your protected time that you invoke the name of people that are up here. People then don't get the opportunity to come up and speak. And typically, you start at one side and you move to the other. And if these people weren't on the ball, too bad. They're out of luck. So he's a government insider person. He's a friend of local government. That's why he gets special dispensation. Ridiculous.
yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Hi. I'm Judy Reynolds, and I live in Josephine County. And I'm here to remind everyone who might be watching this video later on that democracy is a participatory sport. And what we've got here is one team being represented at these meetings over and over and over, and the other team not represented. And there's no one to blame for that but that other team. So I would suggest that anyone who would like to see positive suggestions made to this county commissioners about how to help our distressed county as far as funding for security, as far as protecting our environment, as far as proper use of our resources, rather than personal attacks upon our elected officials, I suggest they start coming to these meetings and speaking up. I personally do not feel this is a forum for personal attacks of any kind. And I very much resent the time of our elected officials being taken up in this way. One person at this meeting today said that they were appalled by how Cheryl Walker was apparently demeaning to people at an airport regarding some equipment. I find that rather hard to believe, but in light of how long these commissioners have withstood personal invective by a small group of people, I would say I'm just amazed. Anyone outside of this community who watches these videotapes would truly wonder, as a friend of mine asked me from back east, what the hell is going on out there? And that is the question to ask. This is a democracy. We have a variety of opinions, and very little varied opinion is being expressed by the public at these meetings. And it is high time that this begins a new chapter. Thank you.
Thank you.